Thank you for being here today and trying this again.
Thanks for having me.
We'll do a couple little things again. People probably heard the first time, but if I actually delete that video, I'll just say I met you through my wife, introduced me to you. My wife and my daughter, Addison, in particular, Addison went to come see you for some help with Hashimoto's as a 12-and-a-half-year-old, and you were very helpful for her. And so my wife recommended that I connect with you, and that's kind of how we kind of got matched up on this part. And now you are a little bit on your own now. You were with that clinic, and now you branched out onto your own. So, but tell us a little bit about you and your background, kind of areas of expertise or specialties.
Yeah, so thanks for doing this. Yeah, so I am a dietitian by training. So I did the whole kind of conventional training route and then came out of that and worked at a couple of Hy-Vee stores and realized, it was kind of a great gig starting out, but I realized I wasn't really helping people as deeply as I wanted to. And I knew I wanted to get sort of in the clinical side of things, but knew that my training wasn't quite deep enough. And so then I started exploring around a little bit and figured out that functional medicine, functional nutrition is where I wanted to be, which is more about finding kind of root causes to things and really helping people heal on a much deeper level. And so I've done some additional training, about a year or a year and a half of integrative and functional training, which was amazing. And then on top of that, I've done some additional training in food sensitivities, which I'm also certified in. So it's kind of a nice way to put it all together for people. Lots of layers I can use.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Yeah, and obviously that gives you a whole different ability to look at a human being and kind of break it down better with all that training and knowledge. And it's still, I'm sure, person by person, everybody's so different in this area.
Yeah, and that's what I think conventional medicine kind of fails to do is you go in and you have this diagnosis or a label of some kind, and classical nutrition would say, okay, you've got this, here's the diet for it, and that doesn't always work. A lot of times that doesn't work, and so it's more like you as an individual, what's going on with your system, what do you need, and that's why I love this, being in this area that we are with the functional approach.
Yeah, exactly. And I've learned a little bit more about it. I'm by no means an expert yet, and I'm trying to grow and continue to learn. But it's amazing how different foods can have such an impact. Because even in my world here, I definitely have patients that have these issues that should probably be resolved based on the kind of care that we're providing here. But sometimes it's that food or something in their environment or a toxin or whatnot that's keeping them inflamed and therefore a more challenging case. And so it's nice to be able to have somebody that you can refer to kind of look into that deeper core issue that might be part of it. I told you last time when our interview didn't work, for me, that was dairy from cow in particular.
Yeah.
I've been inflamed for years and years and years. Even on my own testing, that was the one area was kind of, that was more on my muscles and joints and inflammation. And I couldn't quite figure out, despite being a specialist in this area on those topics, that was the one area that wouldn't go away until I finally decided to 100%, or pretty darn close to 100% cut out the dairy, and that's made a difference for me too. So, but how about who do you love to work with?
Good question. Yeah, it's kind of that person who's has dipped their toe into trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, I help a huge range of people, but it's adults. I work with adults and people who are suspecting food or gut stuff or are dealing with anxiety and all these kind of random symptoms, and you just can't figure it out. It's people that tend to have tried some things and they're just not getting the answers they need, and so that tends to be, it's just kind of a good zone to be in because it's really rewarding when I can get people to where they want to go with their health. And so when nobody else has, which is fun.
That frustrating category.
Yeah.
Because it can show up in so many different ways when your gut health isn't great. Okay. What sort of results do you get for your clients?
Yeah. So I think it totally depends. I mean, everything from weight loss to weight gain. I've had a lot of people that need help maintaining and gaining weight, just straight gut issues, mood stuff, hormone stuff, skin issues. anxiety, kind of the depression, the fatigue is a big one. I think that's more and more, I'm seeing a lot of fatigue. It just kind of, yeah, those are probably the big ones. Energy, headaches, migraines.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's see here. What is it like working with youth?
Yeah. So I'm virtual only, and so I do phone and video chats with people.
Mhm.
And people always want to know if I take insurance. I do not, but I do have the opportunity to give you a super bill if you want to try and submit and see if you can get coverage. It's that historically it's not been great for nutrition services, but happy to give you
Sure.
that if you want it. Mm-hmm. I work in packages because I find that way I can give people more support when they actually need it, and not just, oh, I had my session, I can't contact Rachel. And so I build a lot of support into my packages. And so my mantra is just over deliver. And so I'm all about giving you really good value for when you work with me, it's just all about making sure you're taken care of.
Exactly. And this is an area too, I think that a lot of people, again, it's a lifestyle change. So it's not going to typically, you might get some improvement, I would assume, if you make some changes, but kind of an ongoing process that I would imagine helpful to have some kind of coach you along, and maybe you get something in check, but then you still need to be paying attention to something else. Or does the body tend to adapt then too on some things, and you have to kind of retweak the game plan?
Yeah, and I call it a roadmap. I always create a roadmap with my clients up front, and then we do tweak it as we go, depending on how things are shaking out. And I try to start out with the things that probably are going to have the most impact, so that maybe we don't have to do so much work down the road with, getting into the weeds with certain things. So just kind of creating a hierarchy of kind of a working order. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense why a package deal would make more sense for something like that, because again, it is something along the course of time, not just you've got all the information you'll ever need in one little visit. Good luck.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's just hard to. Yeah.
One question that I didn't ask last time, but what kind of test? Tell me, what do you use for testing?
Yeah. Yep. So so the food sensitivity is called MRT. It stands for mediator release test. And from all of the digging I've done, that is the most sensitive and specific test that I have found, meaning you're just more likely to get accurate results, less false positives and false negatives. From that, we take the results and do what's called the LEAP protocol, and lifestyle, eating, and performance. And that's a structured protocol that that's how I tend to get about 50% symptom reduction in 2 weeks for people that do it. And it's a really fun process to watch. So that's a series of 4 sessions over about 2 to 3 months. It depends on the person. So that's the food sensitivity testing one of my favorite things to do. And I also offer micronutrient testing. So if you're just wondering what's going on with nutrients getting into my cells, and how is that looking? Because blood work doesn't always tell you it's like sometimes the nutrients don't sit in our blood a lot, whereas this test looks a little bit deeper into your body. And then I also do some GI testing. It's called GI map is the gut test I like to use. So I've got various ways that I roll those into packages for people.
And how do you collect samples of some sort to get this information, or what's the process with that?
Yeah, each of those tests has a kit that would get sent to you, and then the MRT and the SpectraCell are both a blood draw, and I help with finding the lab and where to go. And yes, there are still some places that are doing that. The gut test is a stool sample collection at home, and that it's a 1-day collection. I know there are some 3-day collections out there, but those you kind of have to keep in your fridge. So just a 1-day collection, and just don't tell the FedEx guy when he comes to get it what it is. Yeah.
All right, excellent. That's good to know more about that too. And then how are you different than other dietitians?
Yeah, so I think I kind of alluded to this before, but it has a lot to do with my training, in that I'm looking for not just, you came to me with Hashimoto's, you came to me with diabetes. I want to know what else is going on. Maybe we're calling it that conventionally, But are we talking about you need to work on sleep to lower inflammation and stress and movement and like all of these components that then we can just, I can't undiagnose you. I can't tinker with medications based on my scope, but hey, maybe we can lower the need for some of those things and just get you functioning better. And so it's really a combo of my training, but my personal experience with my own health issues. It's my experience in that clinic that I was working at where I met your wife and your daughter, seeing some really, really complex people and just kind of pulling that all together and having my eye on like, there is a certain level of intuitiveness that also goes into working with somebody too. And I really love when it's just connecting with people, because we need that ally when we're trying to heal. You have to have somebody who's in your corner. And I love being that person. And I love watching the transformation and helping guide that process.
Yep. Teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I would imagine people need to want to be motivated on some of this too.
Yeah.
It does take effort on that as well. Yep. It's not the simple fix. And then how about how to get in touch with you? So if anyone can reach out, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I've got a Facebook page. It's Hēla, Hela Nutrition. Go ahead and like my page. I've got some timely information on there. And you can certainly email me with any questions too. It's Rachel, Rachel, at HēlaFunctionalNutrition.com. And I have a website that is just about ready to launch. There's a coming soon page. You can certainly go check it out. It's HēlaFunctionalNutrition.com. And then I also have on the website is a link to where you can book a service, but you can also just click on that to see a little bit more about my packages, what I've got going on there. And right now, actually, I've got the lab that is doing the MRT testing has authorized a discount, a special price on the actual lab test you have to have it done by May 15th. So if you're at all interested in that, I'm happy to get on the phone and just do a 20-minute discovery call and see if that would be a good fit for you. And then I've also decided to extend a special discount for your crowd of a $50 kind of discount just for anybody that would come to me through you. So this is a thank you for networking and in the spirit of everybody's in this weird new time. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I talked to you earlier on about how my kind of goal is to kind of create my own wellness center here, kind of branch out, but I also want to be able to have really solid contacts for my patients in certain specialties too. So I think networking, again, I like small business. I like your approach. I think it lines up really nicely with what I kind of think and believe for the health spectrum of how to truly take care of people, core level instead of all just the symptom-based care. So it's been nice to connect with you, and I think hopefully a lot of my patients can benefit from your care now or maybe down the road. So reach out to her if you have any questions. Please put your comments below if you have any questions, because we talked about maybe doing another one of these. If we can keep getting better at this, I'm assuming we'll get better at it. But kind of reconnecting on any questions, especially if we see some common questions that are popping up. Obviously, again, nutrition is a very complicated field at times and very misunderstood field. And I think, unfortunately, it's confusing for a lot of people just because it's a very highly marketed field as well. It's kind of sort of confuse the consumer, I think. They think they're eating something well, and it's not that great. There's a lot of hidden things in it. So, but hopefully Rachel can be a great help to all of you out there. And thank you for your time, and I really hope this worked this time.
Thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you again.